team. I'll tell you that right now. And we're going to sit there and we're going to combine. We're going to compare him to Jordan. You think that Jordan's going to be on this team, 17 games under 500, in the prime of his career? I know LeBron's probably a little past his prime, but you get the idea. You think Kareem? How about Kareem? You think they'd be in the playoffs if Kareem was their center and by him with nobody else?
Magic.
That is a joke. Magic. Another Bird. Not a chance. That is what drives me crazy.
Need a tissue.
And LeBron, how about LeBron taking the responsibility?
Give me a tissue, please.
How about LeBron going out there here in the next 24 hours and saying to me, you know what? Blame it on me. I'm the best player. I'm the best player. I did a lousy job with this team. Forget the GM in Westbrook. We discussed that. He's a terrible GM. Put together the band. How about LeBron go out there and says, I got to take the responsibility. It is a joke that the Pelicans, without Williamson and Ingram didn't play half the year, and the Spurs, the San Antonio Spurs with the Utah kid as a power forward. I mean, they make the playoffs of a LeBron James. That is a disgrace. If you're LeBron James, you got to be embarrassed by that. You're LeBron James. You're the second or third best player in the history of the NBA. If I take any of the other guys on that list who are in the top 10, Kobe, Jordan, Kareem, Wilt, Russell, anybody you want to name, Bob Pettit, anybody you want to name, he's on the list. Anybody you want to name, they are going to make the playoffs. I don't expect them to win 60 games. You're telling me that somebody like Jordan wouldn't go 45-37 on the Lakers? So to me, he's got to take responsibility for that. Now, as far as what he's done for the Lakers the whole time, listen, are we going to build a trophy? Are we going to have a statue like we have with West and Matt? No, we're not. Because he's been here for 4 years, and 2 of the years they haven't made the playoffs. Last year they got knocked out in the first round, and the other year they won it in a bubble after a 4-month gap. So he is not an iconic Laker, but he did win a championship. So I can't go crazy from that standpoint. But the problem that LeBron has, and I got to let him talk in a minute, the problem that LeBron has, he's got too many teams. He wears too many caps. Is he a Cavalier? No, he's a Heat. Oh, he's back to the Cavaliers. Now he's a Laker. Now we're going to speculate if he's going to stay there in L.A. He goes somewhere else. The great player stays with the same team. Go look at all the great players in the history of the NBA. 9 times out of 10. Kareem went to 2 teams, and Wilt played for a couple teams.
Yes.
But a lot of them played in the same team.
But not all.
Not all. But he played for 4 teams.
Right.
It's almost a mercenary. That's the problem I have with him.
Well, that's the problem you have with him because that's how you're built, and I understand that. And I don't necessarily think that you're wrong when you bring up those comparisons. Fair enough. But I think that we have to really, really crystallize and bring this home. This is the worst season of LeBron James' career. Because I'm not talking about his numbers, and I'm not talking about what he did as a player. I'm talking about what he's a part of. The GOAT conversation is officially over. It was never there for me. It was always Michael Jordan first, LeBron second. But if ever there was any doubt, this cemented the fact that LeBron James cannot be considered to GOAT. That conversation is over. And you know why it's over? Because LeBron James was on the Lakers averaging 29, 30 points a game, and this still happened. If he was injured and missed games and he was playing hobbled and we looked at him and he's averaging 16 or 17, you know what? You can get away with that. We can look at him and say, damn, he was really hurt. He just wasn't healthy. Oh, no. You were good enough to average 29 a game. How come you weren't good enough to get your troops in order so you could be a respectable team? This is a man that spoke out and said he was against the plan. Now you ain't even make the play. Okay, the New Orleans Pelicans, without Zion Williamson, and the San Antonio Spurs, years removed from the retirement of Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, and Tony Parker, nowhere close to 500, they are going to the playoffs ahead of a team led by J.J. Redick. Obviously I look it, although I think I look younger than I am.
You look
but
great.
I definitely am old. I definitely am old school to the core. I think about the road to prosperity that Michael Jordan had to travel. I think about what the 76ers were in the 80s, what Boston was in the 80s, what the Lakers were in the 80s. And although Michael Jordan didn't win a title, the road that he had to travel to ultimately ascend to the point that he got to once the 90s rolled around says a lot to me. I think that LeBron James, it's not his fault. but NBA rule changes had changed drastically from the bad boy Pistons to the New York Knicks with Anthony Mason and Charles Oakley and all of these guys and what have you. And so I just look at it from that perspective, and I think about what Michael Jordan had to endure because of the physicality of the game, the rules that were allowed, some of the things that they did in terms of hand checking and all that stuff, but just the physicality that they allowed overall. And I say to myself, LeBron, and the opponents, by the way, as well, and I say LeBron didn't have that issue. When I think about, I'm not talking about the finals, because I understand LeBron wanted to get the Spurs on at least 3 occasions in 2007 and then back-to-back years when he was in Miami. Oklahoma City was young, but you still had Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, James Harden. I think about Dallas with just Dirk Nowitzki, Jason Kidd, Jason Terry, and those boys. Yeah. And then, of course, the Golden State Warriors when we look at it. But I'm just of the mindset that that physicality played a very, very significant role in terms of what the NBA was allowing, the kind of things that were going on. And I view it from that perspective, and that's why I come to the conclusion that the road was tougher for Michael Jordan.
Stephen A., I grew up watching Michael, and I think it's him and LeBron. I completely agree with this list. And I also, to a degree, agree with what Rich is saying, his sentiment here. And I'll tell you why. Because each generation of greatness raises the bar for the next generation. And so Michael's following in the footsteps of Kareem, of Wilt, of Bill Russell, of Larry, of Magic. And then Michael set the bar so high. And if anyone has come close to that bar,
it's LeBron.
It's LeBron. Okay?
And Kobe. And Kobe.
Well, can I share a story real quick? Story time?
Sure.
Real quick?
Go ahead.
All right.
Sure.
So 2001, I had the opportunity to play in Colorado Springs in the USA Basketball Youth Development Festival. This is during the finals. So, we're watching Lakers, Kobe, Shaq versus the 76ers. It was my first time playing against LeBron. He was on the North squad. I was on the East squad. And I remember we were in the dorms in Colorado Springs after this week of basketball was over. And we were going around, what are we going to take back from this camp? What are we going to go tell our friends when we leave? And my homie Sean Dockery, who went to Duke with me, he said, I'm going to go back to Chicago and I'm going to tell everyone I just saw the best basketball player ever. And when you think about what he said, I've thought of this moment so many times in my life. We were 16 years old. We were 16 when Sean said that. And he wasn't wrong. He wasn't wrong. Like, LeBron, if it's not Michael, it's LeBron. And LeBron, because of the amount of media pressure, the expectations. I mean, we talk about Kobe being sort of this bridge, right, between MJ and LeBron. But what LeBron has done, he's exceeded every single level of expectation we could ever place on him. Michael set the bar so high, okay? And LeBron has at least reached that bar, at least reached the bar. And so for me, I agree with Rich. I'm not saying Michael's path wasn't hard or LeBron's path hasn't been hard. But what he's saying is he had to follow Michael, and he's done it.
Okay. Well, let me respond to that, because I love the way you broke that down, and I appreciate the level of expertise, because it just forces me to elevate my game when I'm sitting here debating with you about this, Mr. J.J. Redick. Fair enough in terms of the greatness of LeBron. Here's the part where I get upset at the Rich Pauls of the world, the Maverick Carters of the world, even LeBron James himself of the world. The game of basketball started in 1946, officially became the NBA in 1950. There's been tens of thousands of players in the NBA throughout history. I have one man above LeBron James, and that's Michael Jordan. And you would think that I said the bro is a scrub. You understand? I've got friends I won't talk to because one ignorant dude out of Detroit, whose name I refuse to mention, he don't even have LeBron as his top 10, but he swears he knows basketball. See, I can't listen to him because even though I know he knows basketball, that's just ignorant to not have LeBron James as the top 10 player of all time. I got him number 2 all time, okay? Now, to have him number 2, let's dissect who I'm putting him above. To accentuate J.J. Redick's point, I got a 19-time All-Star, 6-time League MVP, a 6-time champion in Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I got LeBron ahead of him. I've got an 11-time champion in 13 years in Bill Russell. I have LeBron ahead of him. I have Wilt Chamberlain, who once averaged 50 points in a season, once scored 100 points in a game, and a career 22 rebound per game center, who they had to change the rules for. I got LeBron James ahead of him. I have a 5-time champion in Magic Johnson, the greatest point guard in history. I got LeBron ahead of him. I got a 5-time champion in Kobe. I got LeBron ahead of him. I mean, the list just goes on and on. No matter who you put up there, I got LeBron ahead of all of them. The debate is LeBron versus Jordan, not LeBron's greatness. No one's bringing into question his greatness, the road he had to travel to his prosperity, all of this stuff. We all get it. But when we compare him to Jordan, we have to take